Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the quarterfinals of the Urban Terror Nation Cup 18. This time with Germany going up against Hungary. And Germany has been a team that has been almost consistently getting into the playoffs and the quarterfinals since the very inception of this tournament. And they also got gold very lately in the 15th iteration of this tournament, and also did pretty well in the 16th one too. But then they had a big change in their lineup in the 17th one, where that didn't really lead to something that was that successful. They just barely got into the playoffs and didn't get further from there. This year we have again a complete change of the lineup, and we have Gusto returning, who has, most importantly, been playing for Germany in this 15th and 16th Nation Cup. So he played when Germany did so very well, and now also plays for his third year. Also, simultaneously, he is a name that you might recognize just because he is just such a good player, but so a bigger part of the community. But also just he's the leader of Hash, which is one of the very top teams even at the current time of recording. Then we also have for Germany Nis and Quester, who both play for Forge. And then we have Crimson, who plays for a lot of well-known teams and also has helped all of those getting gold in pretty much every game mode. And lastly here we have for Germany Chico, who plays for Boobs and for Essence, who are also in the playoffs of Division 1 in both Team Survivor and Capture the Flag, where even the latter one is one of the favorites to win, usually, even at least currently at the time of recording, which is about 1.5–2 years after this tournament. But still, let's just imagine that I'm actually on time and we didn't actually know the outcome of this very game. Maybe you have actually already forgotten, which means that this should still be entertaining. Nevertheless, we have, though, Germany going up against, as I said, Hungary, who really isn't someone anyone has been taking notice of, really, before the last season, before the 17th season, where they all of a sudden surprised everyone with a splendid success in the group stage, and then sadly getting knocked out by USA then later in the playoffs, but still showing that they can play really, really well. And the lineup hasn't really changed very much. We have Becca, Tripods, Ballermaster, Etalon, and you know why. All of these playing also for the very same clan, which is one of their stronger points. They all play throughout the year in the team that is called King of the Rabbit Hunters, which can be placed at the top of Division 2 Team Survivor and Capture the Flag, and also in third place in the groups of Bomb. So while you cannot place them at the same level as the players of Germany, or usually what you can of other teams, they do have the experience of playing together all five, which is something that most of the teams cannot really say. Usually maybe they have 2 players from the same team. If you really have a lot from the same team, it might be 3, but we haven't, except for Hungary, don't really see that often 5 from the same team. So I would predict this to be actually a close game, just also because Hungary was so very strong last season. But also, though, I would put my imaginary money down on Germany, just give them this slight advantage here, mainly just because of the names that they have, and just the fact that they've been doing so very well in the hardest of the groups, in my opinion, being Group D. So it might be a 2-1 victory, but I still think it would be Germany here going out with the win. But I wouldn't be too surprised if this is going to be a struggle for both teams. And this series is going to be a little bit of the biggest extremes you could imagine here, really. We sadly only have the first map recorded and can because of that only shoutcast the very first map, which is also why this video is not going to be 1.5 hours long, but only about half an hour, because there's no reason for me to put an answer spoiler in if there's obviously not going to be more games. But we are going to start with Team Survivor on Casa being the one slower extreme in the pacing here. We have slow and calculated playstyles, and this is the map chosen here by Hungary, and it has also been their home map throughout this whole season, and they have done pretty well on it too. They did lose against France 13-9 on this, but France is the favorite, so with only 4-point difference, that is actually very impressive, to be honest. But then on the other hand, if you look at how well they did do on Casa against Poland, it was a 21-2. So it is not an overwhelmingly perfect game, but it would also mean that they either had a very bad day, and since I haven't seen that game against Poland, I cannot really say, but maybe also they have learned from their mistakes and have been rewatching all the demos against Poland and figuring out exactly where Poland found a weakness in the setup. Then afterwards, we're going to again, as in pretty much any other series, have Hungary, the map of choice here of Germany this time, being the other extreme. We had slow and calculated on Casa, now we have fast and aggressive here on Hungary. And this is also the same map that Germany did beat United Kingdom on in the very last round of the group stage. So also again, Germany showing being also very well versed on this, but also everyone should be very well versed on Casa, since that is pretty much the identity of Team Survivor in many ways. But should we actually have a draw at this point, it's going to be going for a third map with Team Survivor here on Austria too. So this is a map that has a little bit of both. We have slow and calculated, but at the same time, the map also has so many angles you have to hold that it's also very much just about applying pressure and trying to see if you can hold up against the pressure of your opponent. So we only have sadly the first game, as I said, but let's begin talking about this very first game, which is, as I said, on Casa. So when you think Team Survivor, you most likely think, as the first word that is going to pop into your head, Casa. Or, well, maybe after the phrases 5 players and no respawn and rounds. But, well, okay, so maybe the fourth word popping into your mind, but whatever. The point is that pretty much Casa is the... you pretty much want the map of Team Survivor. That is the map that has pretty much taken the identity of Team Survivor in many ways. And the fact, since we have had so many times had Hungary in this tournament in Team Survivor, like really a lot, about every second match until now has contained at least one pick of Hungary. I mean, I cannot complain, they have all been amazing, and we have seen several different takes on how to play that map, which is still something that I'm really pondering on just analyzing, because that's gotta be something really fascinating to look at. But still, it's also refreshing here to see Casa at once. So, but still, the reason why I still make this, why I keep talking here about Hungary, is just the fact that Casa is so very different from Hungary. So Hungary lends itself very much to many different playstyles, while the current meta though is still being very fast and aggressive, as I've already said. But Casa is exactly not that. So when playing on Casa, you instead take in positions on your own side of the map, and then you try to find a hole, in your opponent's setup. And when you then find an advantage, then you try to exploit it and push onto your opponent's side of the map. And the most aggressive strategies really on Casa is to just push onto the market, and then you really, at most of the time, you even do that only from new alley, and that is still then you're pushing onto your own side of the map, but you go over there with all your 5 people. So you take in good position on the map with the market, because with 5 players you can hold on pretty much every angle and have a crossfire for every entrance to it. but at the same time you also give up map control then to pretty much the rest of the map to the other team. So you cannot really move out and from there, or at least you have to find an opening and have your opponent again make a mistake. But then you can also use just to have all five players on the market to just keep on rushing or pushing further through alley timbers onto your opponent's side of the map. Again, to keep on going for the unfair fights where you're 5 versus 1 or 2. So, but still, that is still very much not anything like what we're going to see to Hungary in the second game. So, very much Casa is about trading favorably kills and being very calculated. So, I'm very much going to be looking forward to having a little bit of a refreshing game here to watch. So, in the blue colors we are going to have Hungary this time, and Germany is going to be playing then in the red. So, sadly we cannot see the second map, but this one alone is, in my opinion, very much worth watching. I'm not going to try, of course not going to spoil the result here, but this one might be the best map of this whole series. So it's good that we at least got this one. Gusto getting a little bit hurt here by a nade. Has to be healed here by Chico. But Nice also now gets tripods, so there's an early opening here for Germany. Because now Hungary are one man down, and if they want to hold on their whole side of the map, they will have to be more spread out. Which means that pushing onto one area has less resistance. Also meaning that Becker now here also being very hurt, only all the way down to 2 HP, and Nis not really being hurt that much. But still, again, being so very spread out, we have Becker now having to be pretty much all alone up against either one or more players. So Germany just have to try and see if they can pick one more off, and they can pretty much just go easily in, and there's still 2.5 minutes here this round. We might actually, possibly you should go for, it would be interesting to see exactly what would happen if you put the timer to a lower maximum. Nis trying to see if he can push in from the narrow side hallway, is going to go to be a trade though. Gusto though also getting Ballermeister, and Etalon also going down here to Johan, and Gusto taking the very last one here. So a very nice execution here, 2 going down on the push in, which is also very nicely done here for Hungary, because they were only 3.5 players yet, still really. So 3.5 players up against 5, and getting 2 of them down before dying, which it's even trades. It's obviously not enough to win the round, but it's still nice. And this time we're going, in the second round we have Hungary now spawning at new allies, so this side's switch, so it's going to be interesting to see how Hungary is going to be trying to see if they can play this. Becker also getting a good little hit in here on one player of Germany at the old alley. Chico going to try and see if he can take a little peek. Sees 2 Hungarians at the bridge, interestingly enough, just one above and one below. So they are going to go for pretty much a crossfire. Very much just the one at the top, all the way, all the time with rotating to heal players up. And Ballermeister pushes in, gets Gusto down. Ballermeister does also go down to Chico, so it is a fair and even trade. Nislo also now going down to tripods, and Etalon trying to see if he can also go and join the party. Tries to see if he can get a few hits here in on one player at the balcony. Does go down here to Questa. So a good opening here for Hungary, but they couldn't really follow it up, so it was a 3-2 all of a sudden. Chico now also going down, so it is all the way down to a 2 versus 2. But all of the Hungarians are very far apart here. So Becker though still wins the one-on-one engagement here against Questa, I think. So Johan is the very last one left, gets tripods down, brings it down to a 1 versus 1. Becker only here with 2 HP, and Johan does know where he is. And he did also make sounds. But he finds him right in the head. Becker takes the round and makes it a draw. Very nice. And now again, Hungary here at the old alley. With Becker not going for the XVIII, but only the G36. So Hungary very much wants to have the players be a little bit more adaptive and also a little bit more aggressive. You know why? Trying to see if he can go in and take a little bit of a peek. Does get patched up here since he didn't really get the better end of that engagement. Few nades are thrown over to the bridge, but seems like they're just right now trying to see if they can use the utility to find an early advantage, and might possibly also try and see if they can push further in. But Guster does fall back to be healed up, I would imagine, and gets back into position. Several are playing. Nis here though being a little bit of a boring thing to see, as he's just holding down an angle, but it is so very important to just make sure that you're going to get the kill here if they're going to be pushing. Balamis is just holding down on the narrow side hallway, but also being ready here to just rotate over. And also just finding the intel on exactly what Germany are doing. They're still committing 2 players here onto the bridge. Still 1 below. And though still also now trying to see if they can peek in from the narrow side hallway. Balamis is trying to see if he can follow it up on a kill here on the bridge, but nothing much has happened. Guster though does look away right when they are trying to peek. And a little bit of an engagement, but everyone are healing up again. And there's still 2 minutes and 10 seconds left of this round. It's very interesting to see that the rounds are so very long. Might possibly you would want to change the round timer here to maybe set it down to something like 1.5 minutes. I mean, even other games, esport games, don't have it that very long, and they even have some kind of objective to bring you together. Okay, that might be also why you can put it further down, but still. Germany going to be pushing in through LA Timbers and get a nice kill here from Nis, but he's probably going to be bleeding to death. So Johan and Chico, the very last ones here, and still 4 of the Hungarians alive. Becker now also getting Johan, so Chico has to do the clutch here if he wants to get this round here for Germany. Tries to go up with the Glock, but Tripod takes him down. And Hungary now in the lead. But yeah, 4 minutes each round. That's, in my opinion, way too much. I mean, yes, you could say that you get more draws, but by having smaller or less time for each round, you very much more force the engagements here. Guster just holding down here from the bridge. And waiting for the peak to follow up that nade, but no one seems to be trying to do exactly that. Tripod's also now trying to take the peak in through the narrow side hallway. Doesn't find anyone. Nis though slides in and gets a kill, so there's an opening here for Germany, possibly. Questo trying to see if he can push on from the gate, while Nis just waits to be patched up a little bit before trying to see if he can push further in again. Just to be sure that you have the nice 20 or 30 extra HP here. And interestingly, Becker just being very, very deep onto their own turf, pretty much in the deepest corner possible here, to try and see if he can hold down on both players from LA Timbers and from the main square, pushing from the same time, as they will both pretty much be running right into his crosshair from that angle, which is a nice thing to do, especially since they're 1 person down. You know, I just also here at Peishu just holding down the ankle, so Germany though trying to see if they can find something more to punish here, since Hungary has to be so much more spread out. Questo just looking into the wall, but obviously trying to see if he can figure out exactly if there's something he can listen for. And Hungary are just still also trying to see if they can find some kind of intel. It seems like Germany are trying to see if they can push down through LA Timbers. Do not choose to do so. Battlemaster does see the head there, but doesn't get push the trigger. And now we have one German going in from the narrow side hallway. This does go down, but Battlemaster and Etalon now also two from Chico, and Gusta also already here at the main square, going to go further onto Old Ally. You know why? The very last one does go down also to the Desert Eagle of Gusta, so it is again tied at 2-2, and we are halfway through this map. These rounds are very slow, even for something like Casa, but it's also very interesting to see that very fact. But also, if you had just a smaller timer, you could just force these engagements earlier and not have the amount of just peaking to be, yeah, you would have them minimized, so that's nice. Again, Hungary just holding down on anyone, trying to see if they can push in from the main square. Gusta does not find the kill and is punished from being so very deep onto their turf. Questa though also getting you know why, so it seems to be a trade now. Chico now also getting down, so Hungary again in the man lead. This does say 5 people that are down to the right, but it is actually only 4. Several attempts to push in from Germany or Hungary over at the Ally Timbers. And Hungary trying to see if they can keep on pushing very aggressively on from there. Questa being a little bit worried about the flank, does find one player and does also get a good connection here. Questa also gets tripods to bleed to death. Becker though trying to see if he can go in. Does go down to the SR8 here of Johan. And Germany, instead of pushing through Ally Timbers, are going to go all the way around and instead try and see if they can go through the gate and narrow side hallway instead. But Hungary already, with one at the balcony and one more at close range, are going to try and see if they can respond. Battlemaster almost getting Questa down. Finally he goes down. But still, Germany are still not in the man lead, and Etalon brings Nis down as the very last one. Nice crossfire and nice team communication there. Johan though also just holding down on the ankle, though also now trying to see if he can find a kill. Is ready for the player again to jump over, but doesn't seem like Hungary will do the same thing twice. That would be a death sentence against an SR8, so. Etalon though also just holding down very deep again on the gate. Interesting, so. Making sure that he has a way to retreat, but still also be more than close enough such that he can be able to heal tripods, as we can see. These being a little bit far down, so Gustav has to make sure that they are not going to be pushed here by Hungary, both from gate, which would be a just an intuitive follow-up, but also the much more dangerous follow-up on that. By going through Ally Timbers, since several of the Germans now are having their attention on the gate and the narrow side hallway. Hungary though still going to try and see if they can peek in and figure out exactly where the other player or the team is going. Very much both teams do not really try to take the initiative here. They very much just try to wait and see if they can find something to punish the other team for. A little bit of an engagement, but nothing happens. Becker though, again, trying to see if he can go in. Johan though had his vision onto the bridge at the time, so there was not going to be any opening there. But all of Germany are setting up here for a push onto the market. And with only Becker there, they should be able to gain control of it. Johan gets Becker down. Etalon though gets Johan, and Battlemaster also Gusta now. Seems like Hungary possibly have been pushing all the way onto they just were from the bridge and got a few good angles and few good hits, and they didn't counter push onto the Pasha. And now Hungary just goes into some common but very strong crossfires here. Though they shouldn't try to see if they can be peeking, because they have not the man advantage, and Germany can just, as we see Quester having to go in from the side, but he doesn't even get there in time before Nis just kills them all. Again, it is tied 3-3, and still 6 minutes left. Again, we have just Nis here, just holding down the narrow side hallway, choosing to not go for the closer position, but instead just holding on a position where he can easily get behind cover, and also make sure that he doesn't, that his opponent from the narrow side hallway is not going to be able to just push in and take the one-on-one, but has to push out onto the patio in the middle of the patio, where it would be then be a 2-on-1 engagement. So also very defensive positions here. Hungary just also with 2 here on the main square. One of them is quite hurt now, but Ballismaster is ready to just kill the follow-up by Gusto, trying to see if he can get the kill. So Germany being a little bit too over-eager for the kill now, and are punished for it. Chico now also getting Ballismaster to bleed to death, so it is now all evened up 4 versus 4, but still with several more people killed. They are more spread out. There's a bigger opening. Beggar trying to see if he can push in from the ally timbers is going to be shut down. Nis also nicely jumping around the hits then, getting 1 kill. You know why? Gets Johan though, and Nis also getting Etalon. So you know why here is the very last one up against 2. Tries to see if he can follow it up. Doesn't really get the connections at first, but finds Chico here in the end. Nis now ready for the push from the bridge here. Okay, so at this time he should be worried about someone pushing through the old alley, as he is. You know why though? Not completely sure exactly where he should be looking at. Might be just be backstabbed right now. And then Nis takes the kill. Brings it to a 4-3. And with these rounds, just the time that these rounds take, this might be a little bit more of this might be the last round. This might also be the second last round here. So Hungary just keeping on to just do their usual setup. The only interesting thing really I see here from Hungary's setup compared to what I usually am used to playing on this, or what we played when we were back with Denmark, or when I was back with Denmark, is that they have only 1 player committed here to the market, while they instead have 2 players on to the square or the bridge. Yes, of course they have 1 player at the bridge, at the top of the bridge, being the rotating player that can go in and heal, but still very interesting to see that you do not have the actually have 1 supporting player committed to this SO8 player at the market. But that also makes the bridge so much stronger, as you can see. And if you have 1 very good player to just hold down on to the ally timbers, you can do very well. But Hungary now giving up all control here of Fountain, and are going to be pushing on through the alley timbers. Becker, they're also going to go in here from the side, see if he can get a flank on 1. Hungary getting a very good opening in. Only Nis and Gustav are here, still alive here for Germany. Gustav, the very last one, a little bit in a pickle here, because he has to worry about Hungarians from both sides at once. Tripod's already ready to do the backstab. So it's a 4-4, and this should be the last round, if they at least are going to be as slow as they have been before. Though certainly they can have several more rounds. If you extrapolate from anything else, they probably won't. I mean, I can remember when I was rendering this, that someone was complaining in the chat of the GTV that this is just a really boring match, but it's very interesting to see something different, in my opinion. And yes, even if it is only a 5-4 or something like that, whoever wins this round, it still is, even though it was only 9 rounds in 20 minutes, it's still something interesting. There is a place for it. Now you can say that there's a reason for why it was as like this. It's first of all just because of the map, might also just be because of the playstyle of the two teams, but it is in some ways also just a fault of the game mode itself. So the reason why I say that is because there's no object of interaction in this game mode, and there's way too much to talk about here, but the reason why bomb mode is design wise really good is because because it is asymmetric and one team is just set to be losing at first if they cannot get the bomb down in time, and then the other team is losing if they cannot be defusing. It forces the teams to actually move to the other team. They cannot just sit around for such a long time, and we have 10 seconds left still, so yes, this is the very last round, and Hungary getting ready for the ninja jump down here through the alley tables. Are going to begin to make sounds. Johan does shut the first one down, and Hungary are going to go for the retreat. So they have lost Ballermaster here for absolutely nothing. And Germany not really wanting to follow it up. They have been punished before and just want to make sure that they just wait again for Hungary here to do the mistake. Chris is just keeping his hands warm here. And a little bit of dancing. I like it. Etalon though also being a little bit trigger happy here, but just holding down the angle, making sure that they are not being flanked. And Hungary really now just fortifying the position here at market and waiting for Germany to take map control and try and see if they can punish Germany being so very split. That is the comment I was referring to. I don't think it's boring, it's different. And it is still a 4-4. It is tied. If this keeps on being tied, we are not even going to be seeing a third map, because then the winner of this whole series is just going to be the just the winner of the second map here. So if none of the teams do anything in the next 15 seconds, this is just going to be a draw, both in the round but also the game here. So Germany do not want that to happen. I try to go in. Crested does get Talon down here, but this might have been a little bit too late doing this push. They should have gone and done that possibly 10 or 20 seconds earlier, so that they could also have pushed on to the market. But it is going to be ending in a 4-4 in one of the more different games we have seen. Very much just the most extremely slow game of one of the slowest game probably even of all of Urban Terror matches. So as I said, because this is a draw, we're not going to see the third map. The winner of this whole series is only determined by the winner of the next map, which is the map of choice of Germany, being to Hungary Beta 8. And this map I cannot show you because we don't have the recording, as I said earlier. I'm really terribly sorry for that, but it ended in an 11-14 in favor of Hungary. So Hungary wins this series 2-0 and now has to face France in the semifinals. And we're not going to shoutcast the semifinals, so I'm just going to tell you who won that one too already now. And as you might imagine, that one didn't go that very well for Hungary. They already met each other in the group stage before, and France already won 2-0 over them at that point. And now again also Hungary losing 0-2 to France, where they had first a loss, or 6-15, on Algiers' captured flag, as France has pretty much chosen throughout this whole season. And then we have a loss of 9-15 on Casa. Very, very reminiscent of their clash back in the group stage, where they also lost to France, but 9-13 instead of 9-15. So, hope you enjoyed that. Next up is going to be the last game of the quarterfinals that we are going to be covering. It's going to be Poland going up against Portugal in what I would imagine being, or what I know to be, the best series, in my opinion at least, of the whole tournament. We will be back soon. Stay tuned.